baby, bye, 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 bye. Shoot it to me, but it ain't no lie, baby, bye, bye, bye. I should have been in a boy band. Man, I would have been great. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Piece of shit cop pulls out after me. Nope. Guess not. Wash this brace. This brace stinks. Woman seems to be having a hard time. My math's just called math. I don't even have any plan today. I haven't been thinking about this, or nothing's even really happened this morning. Normally I catch a video or something happens where it sort of inspires me to be this. Some days it's just not that way. You were about to get brake checked, bro. Good thing you backed off. Because I will brake check a motherfucker. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, what are those geese doing? Trying to get hit? Holy shit. Guess I gotta brake check, motherfucker. Fuck off my ass, you dumb broad. You want me to drive slower? I will. That's how I roll. You know, what else is there to talk about? Fucking A, man. I just don't even... It's weird. You know, there's all kinds of shit out there that people do talk about and that I guess should be talked about. But I always look good. What are you talking about? Thank you, though. Look a lot younger though, don't I? Well, it's starting to come in all white and stuff, so it doesn't work as well. When it's clean, or at least when it's fresh shaved, I look like I'm easily... I still have a big ass beard. You know how gross that is? Like, seriously? How that ever became such a thing? How big nasty beards were such a thing? White guys with big nasty beards? I know. Your get literally shit particles, and it makes all the sense when you think about it. It totally makes sense. When you're taking a shit, you sit down, right, and you sit like this, whatever. You sit with your elbow, you lean forward, and your beard hangs down over the only area like things go to the path of least resistance, right? So yes, it could go out like that little lip between the toilet seat and the toilet itself. It can, but it's easier for it to go straight up out the big hole. And there's something called displacement, right? Where, you know, like if you put an ice cube in water, the water level rises to accommodate for the volume of that ice cube, right? So every time you drop a deuce or even pee, you're causing that space to get smaller. right? The space that in the bowl gets smaller. The the water, the volume gets smaller, and so all those little microscopic particles, they go straight through. They go out the path of least resistance, and they come straight up your fucking into your beard, and then your beard catches them, and you just. Dumb broad. And so you walk around with a bunch of shit in your beard, and you don't even realize it. Like, it's weird, and it's strange to me that what was it, like maybe 2010 or so, that became an acceptable look. Like, when I was growing up, you couldn't have a big beard like that and be able to get a job or all that. But it's just strange. I wonder how that worked out. Me, personally, I couldn't do that. I would get so irritated by having all that there. And I don't like looking the same. I agree with that. Well, you should, because it's true. But like, the one thing I know, like, growing up, girls don't dress up for us. We'll fuck a broad if she's in sweatpants and a dirty t-shirt, as long as she looks good. And even then, depending on your standards, she doesn't even have to look good. You just have to want to get laid. So, like, I know guys all the time that have like the same look. They've looked the exact same. This dude I used to work for, his name was Gary. Gary had his goatee, his hair was cut. Haircut every 3 weeks or whatever. He literally looked the same. Like, if you were to look up pictures of him from any point from when he could grow facial hair until today, other than it changing color, he looks the exact same. And I know that girls change their look to impress other girls. They don't care about, it's not about us. We don't care. So I always thought of it like, if girls are doing that to impress other girls, well, then they notice if I do it. So I never wanted to, look the same. I always thought, like, keep it guessing. Change your facial hair, change your hairstyle, do that stuff to keep things interesting. And you just don't want to look the same. And to have that big ass beard, it's like my hair, right? I'd love to cut my hair, but I know it'll never grow back again. At least not like it is. If I had my hair all this color, would be gone if it grew out again. That's kind of weird to think about. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what my hair used to look like. This is the color of my hair. Now it's this color. But yeah, switching up your look is good for you. Keeps things fresh, keeps things moving. And having one of those
personality difference, because there's some people that like how they look and they want to keep that look. That's how they want to be remembered.
Right, and I'm saying there's something it's not the best course of action. You should change things up. For all you know, you could look better. You change it out a little bit. But the whole giant beard thing is just, like, I always think about it too. Like, I can't imagine being a female and kissing someone with a big giant fucking hairy face beard and shit. Like, that would just be weird. Like, imagine it the other way around, right? Imagine you go to kiss a girl and it's like all tickly. Think about how many of you, for some crazy fucked up reason, think girls should shave their pussies and look like they're 12. Like, and then you've gone down on a girl with a big bush before. We all have. And it's a little prickly. Imagine what it's like every time someone kisses the big beard face. See, I'm 21. I like my beard because it makes me look older. If I shave it, I look like yeah, but that's fine. First of all, you don't look 12. Secondly, that's great. Looking younger is great because it'll stop. Believe me, I definitely was able to pull that one off. Like, people up until probably my 40s, people always thought I was a lot younger than I am. And that's a good thing.
I mean, they still do. They don't think you're 46.
Go Red Wings. I don't follow hockey.
Yes,
Hockey's
go
not
Red Wings.
hockey's not on regular TV enough. And I don't pay for cable, so and I'm not smart enough to figure out how to get the free stuff. So yeah, I love hockey. I wish hockey was on TV more. And of course, Red Wings are the team. Why would you want to root for anyone else? Red Wings are the original six. But it's hockey town, baby.
Those beards stink. I don't want to kiss a dude with those beards because I don't want to smell what he ate for fucking breakfast.
Yeah, that shit does. It does. That shit holds in hair, holds in smell. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Plus, all the poo particles that are in there. But you said you're 21. Like, that's a lot of guys. It's like, I don't know.
He might look like he's 12. It's entirely possible.
Yeah, but you don't need to have a big goof beard to not. You could have like a mustache. You could try a bunch of different looks out. That's all. Just I don't know. At 21, you should be changing it up all the time. You should be living that up and changing things up and keeping the girls guessing and all that shit, man. Hockey sucks except for when they get knocked out.
Well, that barely happens anymore. They're not allowed to fight.
Yeah, they are. They fight all the time.
Not
like they used to, but they do. And hockey is amazing. Hockey is easily one of the most skilled and toughest sports there is. Those guys are dogs. Like, you don't want to fight a hockey player. I don't care if it's Wayne Gretzky. You don't want to fight that motherfucker.
He could crush your body with his legs. All the skating they do.
Yeah, well,
Jesus
you don't usually
Christ.
get into a scissor position when you're in a fight.
That dude could kill you.
But yeah, I think hockey's great. I love hockey. Hockey's one of the sports that I can watch start to finish. Baseball is cool the last couple innings, maybe.
You can't sleep if you need to fall asleep.
Like, I love watching the series. The series is great. In football, I'll watch football for sure. Soccer. As I've gotten older, I've liked soccer a little bit more. Like, it's not something I'm going out of my way to watch. Football, hockey, baseball, basketball. Basketball again. The last like 5 minutes maybe. But even then, you got to deal with the foul bullshit and all. That's not fun to watch. So I was thinking about it today. I was watching something today. I think the best sport to watch is BK, bare knuckle. BYB is turning out to be one of the premier, if not the best organizations. They have the Trigon. They have a triangle-shaped ring. And I mean, if you want action, MMA can be kind of boring. The biggest problem for me with sports, honestly, especially when it comes to shit like MMA or boxing or anything like, is this female bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, but watching females who have skill and can beat the shit out of each other but can't finish the fight, they don't have the power to finish the fight, it's boring to me. I pretty much know anytime I'm watching a female fight, it's going to go the distance. What the fuck do I want to watch that for? And I'm not watching fighting to be turned on. I'm watching fighting to watch fighting. Bare knuckle boxing. Well, it's not necessarily boxing, but yes. But that shit, like, there's no room, there's no, like bare knuckle trims the fat, right? You either have it or you don't. And like, even if the fight is a full distance fight, it's like incredible. You're looking at it, go, how the fuck does anybody do this? Those are some tough motherfuckers. Yep, I am a crackhead. I love it. I love when people come into they announce themselves like, hey, I'm too stupid to actually argue against anything this guy says, so I'm going to call him a crackhead. Like, that's how you announce yourself. It makes things a lot easier.
I think we need to get rid of all those fighting sports. If the point is to hurt the other person, that's not a sport, and you should not be celebrating that.
Why?
The fact that humans are so sick in the head that they get excited by seeing somebody hurt somebody else.
But it's not about the hurt. It's about the
They can't get up. They're hurt.
No, it's not about that. It's about the beauty of it, the art of it. These guys aren't fucking animals just going out getting in a bar fight. These are highly, highly trained, spent many, many hours perfecting their skills, getting stronger, waking up at 3 a.m. so they can go run 10 miles and shit. Like, these guys are incredible athletes who,
I can appreciate
don't necessarily have a bunch of other options.
I'm not saying I totally appreciate the athleticism.
There's plenty of smart crackheads out there.
The ultimate point is to hurt the opponent till they can't get up, so you win, and that's just sick.
Sure. I don't know. It's to see who's the best. It's not to hurt the other person. It's to see who's the best. Like, I don't know. But I watched the fight there was a fight from the super heavyweights, and the one guy, it was amazing. The guy got knocked down. I thought he was about to lose. He was fighting a guy that was 330 pounds, and he was another 300 something pounds. These were the super heavyweights. And the guy that won is a fucking science teacher during the day. He's when they asked him, you have anything you want to say to your students? He said, yeah, any of you talk shit to me, I'm going to do this to your parents. Fucking awesome. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all bread and circus at the end of the day. It's all to keep us distracted. And this is the shit that I keep, like, I have these arguments on Facebook. I have these arguments here. Everything is about distracting us from the J's that pull the strings. Everything. As long as you're not looking at things honestly, they don't care what you're looking at. They don't care if you're fucking, if you and I don't like each other because your skin color is different, or, you like boys and you like what. They don't care about any of that shit. As long as it keeps us divided, it keeps us from sitting down and going, okay, let's hash out all our problems. Okay, you did this, we did this, blah, blah. Okay, now we're good, right? Why aren't we succeeding? Why is our society so fucked up? Let's look into it. Let's figure this thing out. And that's it's the last thing they want, because it's pretty quick, man. If especially if you have look at her dumb ass hair.
They keep us beating each other up, whether it's emotionally or verbally or physically, to keep us divided. So
keep us divided and keep us. I mean, there's.
Boxing. Oh, well, now let's have MMA. Oh, bare knuckle. Oh, let's put out every form of fighting that we can.
I don't think that's how that worked. I mean, when you look at things like the rise of the UFC and shit, like the I don't know. I mean, depending on how you, I guess, how you think about it, in the beginnings of the UFC, John McCain and the government was doing everything they could to shut it down. But at the same time, that's free publicity. There are plenty of people that will hear that John McCain doesn't want me watching something, so I'm going to watch it. But as far as, I mean, again, it's just another distraction. But, That's literally what it comes. And when you think about who owns all of it, who runs all of it, the biggest bare knuckle promotion right now is BKFC, and that's owned by a Feldman. BYB, however, is Dada 5,000, 3,000, 5,000, Dada 5,000, big fat black guy who was a fighter, and like I got to give that dude a lot of respect, and he's definitely pushed that grind. But like, no, it's pretty. That dude came from the ground up, and because he was a big black guy, wasn't supported. They didn't want him. Like Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z has literally tried to show us what's going on and gone into every arena that the Jays typically own, only to be run out of it. He was a boxing promoter. Like, it's really interesting. And a lot of one of the things I like about fighting more than anything is it really does show how racist we still are. How racist our country is, and how racist we can be manipulated to be. The fact that Conor McGregor is the star that he is here in the United States just says everything, because he's always been a proud Irishman. Carried the Ireland flag, and has his tick accent, and he's Irish. And yet when Irishman Conor fought against American world champion, easily the greatest boxer of not ever, but one of them, the overwhelming American fan base, white American fan base, rooted for Conor. And it's like, why? Why are you rooting for Conor over Floyd? What's the reason? You just like Conor better? Is that what it is? Like, and then there was this, they because of how stupid and racist we are, they were able to create this huge spectacle where, Floyd made like $500 million and Conor made like $200 million off of it. And it should have never happened. It was a joke. Anybody that thinks Conor won even 1 second of that fight is stupid. I mean, you're stupid. You're wishy-washy. It's a boxing match, so of course Conor's going to land punches. But, Floyd could have taken him out in round 1 if he wanted to. But then everybody would have called it a fix and all this other shit. Like, it's really weird. I'm sorry, but America was founded on racism.
Yep.
Well, and you have to remember that the foundation story of America is a story. We really don't know. But the story that they tell us and manufacture and manipulate us into believing to a point where you're not even allowed to question it is very racist. Yes. And it's really interesting how it was founded by racists. There are so many, especially white people out there, that claim racism is a thing of the past. And to me, that's the new racism, right? Denying racism is still racism. You claim that you're not a racist, but then every time somebody brings up racism, you're like, no, that's not racism. I'm white. I say it's not racism. You person of color, you don't know. I know much more about racism than you do, person of color. Gotta do these lines. Gotta do my lines. I'm surprised the dumbass isn't here from yesterday. Where's the dumbass 16-year-old? But it's
Maybe he got in trouble for skipping school yesterday and had to
no,
go.
he's here all the time.
Is he?
Yeah.
Maybe he does virtual school.
But it's all the same. Again, it's all when you look at how this system works, right? The J's whole thing is racism, is supremacy. The whole identity, like it doesn't matter if you're a great man or you do good. You just have to be Jay and then you'll be okay. Did he just blow his nose and say he has to do his lines? Yes. Yes, I did. Yes. Because when I blow my nose, I'm doing lines, right? Isn't that what the desperate say?
Did any of those people that said that, are they
I don't know. Maybe.
Because the people there, if they're not one of them, then they probably don't get the joke.
I don't care. I don't care if people get the joke or not. Like, I'm not catering to my audience. And I hope that's the thing that separates me from all these other idiots that are sitting here where you know that they're doing and saying things to appeal to you. Please like me. Please like me. I'm saying what you want me to say. I'm doing what you want me to do. I'm surprised you could afford a hobby like Coke. Yup, because you know me. Like, look,
I can't even imagine you doing a bunch of coke. Oh my god. He wouldn't live very long, guys. I'm sorry. I'd bury him.
The last time I did cocaine,
all over the walls,
I felt like my heart was racing abnormally. And, your heart races when you do coke, but not like it was here. Something wasn't right. And I thought maybe, well, that was the second to last time. The last time I was like, maybe it was just a bad experience. Maybe there was some speed cut in it. Maybe it was this, that, and the other. So I was convinced to try another line. And when I did it, my same thing happened. And I was like, nope, no more. I'm done. Can't do coke anymore. I don't want to die. And that was 15 years ago, 18 years ago, somewhere like 18. Yeah, 18 years ago.
People that are naturally high strung.
I'm not high strung.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Typically don't like coke.
I have energy, but I'm not high strung. You are high strung. High strung people can take Valium and nothing happens. Someone that isn't high strung takes a Valium and passes the fuck out. Valium is an anxiety medicine. It's to curb your anxiety. You're high strung. So if you take Valium and, you don't even notice you took it, or you start to feel normal or whatever, that's because it's for you. If I take a Valium or a Xanax or literally any of those anxiety medicines, I'm asleep in like a half hour.
That's what happens to me with any of them except for Valium.
Not true, but okay. I don't think when it comes to Xanax, no, it's not effective, and
you get drunk and pass out, and then wake up with a hangover. I hate it.
Okay. If you can't afford real broke, come on, just milk powder. Yup. I'm snorting milk powder now. Look at how like you're so desperately stupid that you say things that don't even make sense.
Would that cause instant mucus?
I can't even imagine what that would feel like.
That would like clog up everything, I would think, because it's all fatty. Yuck.
That's gross. Coke's gross though. Coke's gross. To think that people like when you have no idea what you're actually snorting up your nose, where it's been, what it's been cut with, nothing, and you're snorting it up your nose.
Sometimes it's sparkly, sometimes it's a little cream colored.
Well, it should be sparkly.
Sometimes it's powdery, like you don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Pink. It can be pink. The pink Coke is the good Coke. But, Coke was always fun. I liked Coke for like the first hour. That first line, and you're like, whoa, and you actually sort of get like a euphoria feeling, and, and like, some of the best conversations my wife and I had ever had were on Coke. The problem is, like any sort of breakthroughs or anything that happen on Coke, when the Coke wears off, they go away. The Zan blackout is real. You can go crazy for 5 hours and wake up not knowing where you are. Oh, you have no idea. One time, wait, I can't remember. Was that the time I woke up in the bushes? There was 2 times when I was in Virginia where there was one time where I had taken a whole Xanny, but we were drinking at the bar.
Isn't that 4 pills?
Yeah.
Xanny bars,
Yeah.
4 pills?
We were drinking at the bar, and we were like a half hour away from our house in fucking Virginia, where it's like just cop central. Like,
Very white people central.
it's well, no. Some parts are. Then there's, just like everywhere else, there are parts where like the black people have been funneled into, and it's not very nice. But I was already drunk and took a Xanny bar and then drove home.
Oh God, those two do not mix.
No, I don't even know. Like I but then there's another time when, yeah, that was a different time, where we had Valium for some reason, and the last thing I remember is we were standing in the grocery store line, and I had already taken a couple, and I took one more, and my girlfriend was mad at me, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in the bushes outside of our apartment. Like, we lived in an apartment, in a big apartment building where lots of people lived, and I woke up in the bushes. And I sort of came to, and I stumbled into the house, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And she was pissed. She was pissed, and she couldn't have carried me. She wasn't strong enough to carry me. But she said, like, I started to pass out in the line at the grocery store, and they wanted to call the cops, but she convinced them not to call the cops, got me in the car, and I guess on the way into the apartment, I just fell into the bushes and passed out. Like, I mean, drugs are just terrible. They really are, man. The thing that's different about opiates is opiates actually feel really good. Like, it releases the chemicals in your body that make you feel good. And that warm, like, bubbly, ooh, I feel good. So good I could kind of nod out. That part's, but even then, if you get some real good opiates, you probably don't really remember, how good and felt, and it's sort of a blurry, and then afterward it sucks. And that's what everything is. I mean, that's like drinking. Ugh. Drinking is so gross. To think about how alcohol is pushed on us, and how disgusting it is, and how horrible it is, how bad for us it is, how much violence and death and suicide and all those things are caused by alcohol. Like, alcohol is just, there's no one, it's not a surprise that they give it to us like this, right? Like, it's, looking at his place, he always wakes up in the bushes. You're looking at my place, so you can see my ceiling, but you could see my place too, yeah. And I always wake up in the bushes, because 25 years ago that happened, so that must mean it happens all the time. Like, again, think about it. There's somebody that...
I've been with you for 20 years, and I've never woken you up while you're in the bushes.
It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, and this guy is here desperately trying to say anything because he can't debunk what I say. right? When you like obviously he's hearing what I'm saying and then sort of responding to it in a way. You know, he's taking bits and pieces and then formulating a response from that. But yet I start talking about how horrible the Jays are, the slavery, the baby penis cutting and sucking, the genocide, you know, all that stuff. And this doofus is going to have nothing to say. Cocaine is good like heroin. You just have to take it all at the right time and definitely not have on a daily basis. All right. Well, judging by your profile picture, you take it both every day, all day. Duh. Right? Isn't that how we do this? Yeah, no conversation. Why we gotta be crazy? You are? Well, you're a fucking clown. That's why. I mean, literally, you people come to my feed to not contribute. You just want to. Who is going to try to derail the feed that talks about eliminating the J slavery? Eliminating the J's. Who's going to interrupt that feed? Just stupid. Just stupid. You know, and again, it's not like they go, yeah, you know, fucking, we got to kill those pedos. You're right. We got to get rid of that shit. Blah, blah. They don't say anything like that.
So, going back to the drug thing, we got into. I'd be really interested to see the correlation between the doctors making that big push to give everybody Vicodin and what was going on exactly at that time. Because they pushed all that shit. It was a pretty big campaign. They were giving everybody Vicodin and Norco for whatever the fuck.
Well, and oxys. They were giving everybody oxys.
Yeah. Oh, you stubbed your toe. So that push, there's a direct correlation between that and something else that was going on.
Well, I mean, you have the U.S. taking control and of the Afghanistan and the heroin fields. The heroin fields take you can definitely, it takes a season to grow it, but to get it going really well, it takes a few years to get everything set. I think they what they did was try to get everybody on legal opiates so that when they switched it up and they made that big push where they suddenly made it so doctors were my wife showed up at her doctor one day. No. My wife showed up at her doctor's one day and they were like, yeah, we can only write you half a prescription. We're no longer allowed to write prescriptions like this anymore. You can get 1/2 of a dose, but then you got to go try to prescribe. You got to go see a pain doctor. And they made it so no doctors were allowed to prescribe opiates anymore for the most part. I mean, they could for, you know, small things, but if you wanted any sort of long-term care or anything like that, you now had to go to the pain doctors, which were overwhelmed, and then people were just out their fucking medicine. The medicine that the government had gotten you addicted to. You weren't some bad person because you were taking what you were supposed to take. And I think that then they, at the same to
get people on it,
right, and then at the same time they flooded the market with heroin to try to create a bunch of junkies and fentanyl, right? So now you can't get your shit anywhere else. You're forced to go into the streets, and now you're
Or they put everybody on Suboxone. Those that were willing to go to the streets and made enough noise and whatever, they got Suboxone, which is fucking worse than the goddamn pills. Just sick. That whole drug campaign, that was to cloud the public at a mass level for a reason.
Well, think about this. Like you have the same trolls that are always here are now saying things like, "This is the first normal conversation." So it's normal to talk about drugs and to go all that, to push the drugs idea. But if I'm talking about preventing genocide, stopping genocide, freedom of slavery, stopping child molestation and rape and shit, That's not normal. Why aren't you talking like that, man? Look at how stupid people are. Here in good faith for once, Jesus. Mm-hmm. And no anyone supposed to take everyone over years. Yeah, Suboxone saves lives, does it? Does it really? Suboxone is harder to kick than anything else is.
Now, if it's utilized the way that it was created, then perhaps it could save lives. Somebody that's a over the top heroin addict that is going to end up dead.
Yeah.
And they take it for that 10-day detox period, and that's it. And they kick their habit.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works. You have if you take Suboxone instead of being out in the streets and it's better than you being out in the streets. But the issue is we're not allowed to be who we want to be. Do you realize the two plants that grow everywhere that could cripple the pharmaceutical industry are marijuana and poppies? And if we were all allowed to grow and cultivate our own marijuana and poppy plants, I mean, who are you to say that I shouldn't want to take opium every day? It's a natural plant, especially if I grew it myself, cultivated it myself. We live in a society where it's not just the opiates. They have the J doctors, the J system, Pfizer, and all these piece of shit companies. By the way, Press NH Now came back, and his first video was outside Pfizer. It was great. But they have people on Prozac and Zoloft and Paxil and who knows what the new ones are. I don't know. These were maybe a few years ago even. I don't know that whole
scene. They're still prescribing Prozac pretty steadily. We're trying to.
And there's not much worse than Prozac.
Those all of them, those mind-altering drugs, fuck up. They change you as a person. You lose chunks of your life.
They literally tell you you're gonna feel like you took the brown acid for a couple of weeks until your body it reminds me of when Joe Rogan talks about how he switched over to an all meat diet, and for the first 3 weeks or so, he said there needs to be a new term because explosive diarrhea didn't cut it. His body was screaming, "Stop fucking doing this. Stop this. We hate this." And then it finally was okay, well, I guess you're not going to stop, so we got to do something. And it regulates.
Damage control mode.
Right. And the same thing that happens with the Paxil and shit. Your body is rejecting it, and it's making you no, we don't like this. This is why you feel like shit. You feel crazy as fuck. Lose time and shit like that. Right? That's your body telling you not to do it. The problem with opium is you take opium and your body goes, yeah, that's kind of nice. I
It
like that.
also, looking back, it shuts off your creativity. I did absolutely nothing when they had me on those drugs.
Oh, no.
Nothing. I didn't want to read. I didn't want to do any of the things that I liked, and I was not creative in the slightest.
My cousin used to love to draw. She was a creative little girl. I mean, and she wasn't a bad girl. She just didn't pay attention like she's supposed to. She's a daydreamer. So they put her on Ritalin and shit. And she was on it for many years. She can't draw to this day to save her life. She'd gotten good at it. But that whole part of her brain had been eliminated.
Yeah, it prevents you from your free thinking side. It makes you
a robot.
Yeah, submissive, questioning yourself robot.
That's what fluoride does. You know that fluoride was first used in drinking water supplies, supposedly, in the concentration camps to keep the people docile. Like they make robots to fucking, to do that, like Rockefeller's guy said. They don't want the poets, the laureates, the actor. They don't want any of that. They want people that are just smart enough to work their fucking machines, to be the cogs in the wheel, but too dumb to realize that's all they are. Too dumb to realize that when we started saying, hey, like, you can't just have slaves. You can't just have people, doing all your labor and all you provide them is very little food and shitty shelter. No. You gotta give, like today, like you gotta give people $10 an hour. You gotta give people just barely enough money to survive. And if you're young and you're unskilled and you're just working minimum wage job or whatever, well, now you got to live with somebody else who's in that position because you guys can't afford a place. Or if you can, it's in a really bad neighborhood.
I mean, seriously, all of the younger people that I come across and talk to, I can't think of any of them that live on their own. Every time you talk to somebody in their 20s that's finally moved out of their parents' house, almost all of them have a roommate.
Yeah.
That was not the case when I was young.
At the same time, how we were raised wasn't right either. If it was the right way to do it, then people would be clamoring to do it. We should be in.
Daisy would love to not have to have a roommate. She'd love it.
Maybe. I mean, she'd love it. Then, if she really wanted it, then she would do what it takes.
Well,
and she actually has the ability. But that's what it is. I mean, that's, But like again, it's our whole perception. It's Hollywoodism. Our whole perception on what life is supposed to be is wrong.
But think about it this way:
like
when you're able to live on your own, and you don't have roommates and other people, you come into yourself more.
How do you know?
More what you like. I did live by myself for a minute. I should have done it longer. I would have liked to have done it longer. But regardless, when you're living with somebody else, you're still being influenced by somebody else, is my point. You don't get to, okay, I know that I like my fridge to look this way. I like my closets to be like, you know what I mean? Like, you get to
when
know
you're
yourself.
A control freak, yes, that it definitely matters. No, it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people like to be more in control of every little thing than others do.
Preventing us from being more independent is my point. By not giving us making it feasible to be able to live on your own.
Sure, but I don't think the way that we've been taught, like the idea of living on your own, so you're in your own place, you keep to yourself, I personally think the best situation would be if we had our individual stuff, but we were in communities that work together. And if you like, I know when I was by myself, there were times when I had roommates, and it was just fun. It was just different. It was like we're just different. A lot of us are built this way. It's the same thing as sexuality.
Your whole childhood of not having a roommate or sibling or playmate.
Sure, and there's lots of those. Right. There's lots of those out there. I mean, absolutely. The idea that your grandparents could work at a fucking grocery store or at a elevator operator or whatever, and give a good life to their family. That's not there anymore. But it kind of wasn't. Like, we want to romanticize it, but when you hear about a lot of those older people, they always talk about, my dad worked 2-3 jobs to take care of the family. He was never home. And, it's just the all of this is about keeping us, these distracted, like strung out. We're all strung out. We're all at the very fucking, we're all a bad decision or two or a bad happening or two away from being totally fucked. Completely, totally fucked living in your car. If you have a car. And that's what the problem is. Our society as a whole is just fucked up. And it's not that way because that's just how it is. It's not that way because we're just naturally like that. It's that way by design.
Generations ago, we used to, you know, encourage and cultivate independence, and now we're not. We're cultivating dependence.
We used to force independence. There are people that just don't want that. There are people that don't want to go out and live on their own. They like being with their families and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think
it should be a choice, not by,
that's what I just said. There are people out there that want to exist in, there are just multiple different arenas. And just like you and I have grown up thinking that there's something wrong with somebody who doesn't want to leave the nest. Like we are birds. But we're not. It's just, these are all those little things that come from us living in a narrative where shit is so fucked up. Again, it's made so that we are barely making it. The majority of us barely have enough money to get through our lives. And we have to look at why it's all this way.
Well, we have to turn that forced dependence into unity and fight back against what put us in the position to begin with.
And what's the best way to get people to unite? The best way to get people to unite is when they have a common enemy. And because they have convinced us that I shouldn't like you because your skin color is different. I shouldn't like you because you're a man and I'm a woman. I shouldn't like you because, you're tall and I'm short.
Man that wants to wear a dress.
Right. I shouldn't like you for all of these other reasons. All of these crazy fucking reasons. And they know that as long as, as we have all these distractions, we won't realize that we all have the same common enemy. And when we start focusing on our common enemy, then we can fix the scenario. We can't fix the problem until we identify what the problem is. I always say, like everybody wants to talk about, gosh, where's all this blood coming from? Oh, fuck, man, can you believe how much blood I had? Yeah, what is this blood? Oh, man. Oh, this blood's just everywhere. I keep getting blood on my shirts and and blood all over the bed. Every time I bump into somebody, I get blood on them. You have a big gash on your arm. No. Don't worry about the gash, okay? The blood is the problem. And you're like, no, it's the gash is causing the blood. No. Stop it. You're not allowed to talk about the gash. Don't say that. You are not allowed to talk about the gash. That makes you anti-gashist. And you're like, well, how do I stop the bleeding? How do I stop the blood from being everywhere if I don't address the fucking wound? That's a good question. Pray about it. If you pray to the invisible solution, you might be able to fix the invisible problem. Right? This is the narrative. This is why they have you waiting for the Savior. Do you realize that? God, Jesus. That shit is crazy. You're waiting for the Savior to return. You're not your own Savior. We aren't the Savior of our own humanity. They have a 70+% of you, 65+% of you waiting for their guy to come back. Like like people don't want to acknowledge this, but Christianity makes you a real big piece of shit. You know, your best case scenario is that Jesus, the prayer jar up in heaven, finally fills up. Jesus and God are just sitting there like, wait, all right, come on, Billy, make a couple more prayers. Come on, Susie, make some more. We're almost there. We're almost there. And the prayer finally passes the line on the jar. Prayer jar is filled. Jesus, get your ass down there and be the savior you're supposed to be. And so Jesus touches down, and as soon as his little toenail touches the ground, again, what if it was like he didn't realize it, but it had to be his body touching the ground? And so when he came down in some sandals, he was like, touches the ground, and nobody gets raptured, and he's like, what the fuck?
You're all going to hell.
There's supposed to be a rapture here. What is going on? And everybody's looking, and he's like, oh shit, sorry. Takes off his shoe, puts his foot down, and everybody just starts getting raptured all around.
Oh boy.
But you
Can I even show you this?
the Ben Gurion Canal, right? What is this? Imagine a gash in the earth so precise it looks like a giant sword sliced through it. Greece itself. This is the Corinth Canal, where sheer limestone walls rise like marble skyscrapers from the water, creating one of humanity's most dramatic shortcuts through solid rock. For centuries, ships faced a daunting choice: brave the treacherous 320-kilometer voyage around the Peloponnese Peninsula, or don't go at all. But in 600 BC,
That's why I wanted to show you. That's the earliest one I think we found.
in minus 600, not 601, not 597, in 600 BCE, minus 600, an ingenious ruler named Periander, that's it, he doesn't have a second name, Periander devised a solution that would have made modern engineers proud. I am very proud. Picture it. Sicily, 1945.
Minus 600.
Picture it. Greece, minus 600. Ancient Greek ships lifted from the water.
No, keep going. No.
Oh my God.
You gotta start over so you don't lose.
You know what's funny though is a few years ago she would have been showing me this, like, look at this, ancient Greeks were amazing. Look at this.
I mean, you know.
Right, but no, I'm not. It's not a knock. It's how you were It's funny because you were programmed with.
The Greeks did everything first.
But you were programmed with like 47 years, 48 years worth of the shit you're supposed to fucking learn. And then your dumbass husband starts going, hey, does this make sense? And you go, all that programming out the window, because it's like it dawns on you, and then once it dawns on you, you start looking at everything like, that's fucking stupid. What do you mean minus 600 fucking, come on.
Ships were lifted.
Greek ships lifted from the water and placed onto wheeled carts, being pulled across land on a sophisticated railway system called the dialkos. The ancient innovation served maritime trade for centuries, until ships simply grew too large for this extraordinary boat railroad. Fast forward, like, if you'd have asked me when this is supposed to have taken place, my guess would have been, oh, let me guess, they probably did it like 1860, 1870.
Minus 600.
Fast forward to 1882, when modern dreamers decided to accomplish what even the ancient Romans had failed to do, cut straight through the earth itself. For 11 11 grueling years, workers armed with primarily picks and shovels carved through rock and earth, creating a channel where limestone walls soar more than 80 meters high. Taller than an 8-story building.
So did they make the walls, or they cut through it? So
They
the walls
they
were
cut
created?
yeah they cut down
Okay.
They cut down 80 stories.
So they didn't like dig through dirt and then put limestone walls up. They cut through limestone and just made them smooth, so they're walls.
Yeah.
Okay, that one I was questioning. Anyways, go ahead.
Through this magnificent cut runs a 6-kilometer waterway deep enough to float ships in 8 meters of crystal clear Mediterranean water. Today, watching massive ships thread their way through the narrow passage is like observing a thread being pulled through the eye of a needle. Guided by tugboats, these vessels seem to brush against the ancient rock walls as they pass through this testament to human perseverance and engineering ambition. It stands not just as a vital maritime shortcut, but as a monument to humanity's determination to reshape the world to its needs, turning impossible dreams into concrete reality.
It's pretty amazing looking.
It's unbelievable.
And it does look like a sword.
It's unbelievable.
So a lot of people said 600 kilometers. Is that what they said?
The Corinth Canal. Yeah.
600.
80 kilometers. No, I don't remember. Oh no. Phone shut off. Must be dead.
6-kilometer waterway.
6 miles. 11 years.
Over a mile, right?
Yeah, 5 miles.
No, it'd be like 7, 8 miles. No, more than
No.
that.
If you're going 50 kilometers, you're going like 35 miles per hour. Oh, this says at 100%. Why is it off? That don't make no sense.
Oh, it's only 3.73 miles. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be.
A lot less than I thought. We're not from Europe, so we don't know our metric system really well.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to jump to the history. Several rulers of antiquity dreamed of digging a cutting through the isthmus. The first to propose such an undertaking was the tyrant. Oh, he's a tyrant. The tyrant Periander in the 7th century BC. Oh, there we go. It's the 7th century, so it's 600. I always love these narratives, though, right? Like, you hear about somebody proposing an idea, and somehow that, even though they proposed it and everybody was like, nah, let's not do that, the record of them proposing the idea survived since 600 minus 600.
Okay.
Do you not get how stupid that is? I mean, like how many ideas did you have when you were like 12 years old that you still remember? Like, oh, I got this idea, but it's impossible, so I'm not, can't do it. And now here you are fucking 30, 40 years later, and you're like, oh, yeah, I had that idea about, something stupid. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So prior to this guy, no one ever thought of that before. And then suddenly this tyrant guy thinks of it. What's the problem here? Oh. Then this tyrant guy thinks of it. And now everybody's like, well, you know what? That's dumb, but let's write it down. The project was abandoned, and Periander instead constructed a simpler and less costly overland portage road. I mean, yeah, it's more simple to devise a way to put boats on railroad cars and drag them across the land than it would be to dig a fucking channel with pickaxes and shovels. Some points as deep as 80 meters. Come on, guys. Come on, this is fucking crazy. The road, named the Dioclose, or stone carriageway, along with ships that could be towed from one side of the isthmus to the other. Isthmus. Periander's change of heart is attributed variously to the great expense of the project, a lack of labor, or a fear that the canal would have robbed Corinth of its dominant role as an entrepot for goods. Remnants of the Dilkos still exist in the northern canal, in the modern canal. So, not only did this thing did they not do it, we know why. We know how, we know all these details about it. And yet, we lost the telemetry data on how we went to the moon in the late 60s, early 70s. Like, I just love how they do this all the time, where, they pretend like that details and where are these details kept? Where is the story of Periander written down with such detail that it was then kept throughout history and somebody then uploaded it to Wikipedia? I mean, it's fucking insane. You know,
I was never sure if I would want to get married or have a family.
All the sort of years, all the battles, all the floods, all the disasters, all of the rulers, all of the changing of perceptions and how we know well today the bad guys destroy the history. Remember how a few years ago Al-Qaeda was going around destroying old world monuments and shit? Why doesn't that get talked about? It's straight because I mean, I think my favorite channel right now to watch is the Lucius Aurelius channel, Restitute Orbius or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's Lucius Aurelian. I think he does the best channel on a lot of this stuff. And I used to really be a big fan of My Lunch Break, but that guy went fucking, something changed. That guy started pushing Christianity like crazy, and that just, you're going to lose me on that one. But the Restitute Orbis channel, man, you really, I had my wife watching it yesterday. We were watching the video on the Great Lakes cities and Buffalo and Cleveland and Detroit and Chicago and the origins of these cities. And the thing is, you know, it's arrogant ignorance, right? The arrogant ignorance that everybody has is overwhelming. It's so hard to it's so hard to combat, you know, because you have all these people that walk around like, my wife did it too, denying Tartaria and like, what's that even matter? Who cared? Blah, 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 blah. But it's based out of ignorance, because when you start it's fascinating. And it's fascinating in a way where it's like it's almost touching on it's talking to you. Like you didn't watch that movie yesterday or that video and think, "Oh my God, I'm so surprised." You watch it and go, "Yeah, you know what? What the fuck? I've always wondered that. I've always thought about that." This guy's pointing out these buildings in Detroit that if you go to them, it's just, I should go do it. I should go do these live things where I go to these buildings and we just go look at it. But it's just, you know, it's nice to watch a video where somebody else goes, "Yeah, it's fucking impossible. It's impossible. The people in 1701 did not build the St. Anne fucking church. There's no way. 100 people built that? 50 of which were soldiers?
And if they did, it took them like 20 years, not a year.
I don't think it takes 20. I mean, you know, there are these interesting arguments that you'd think we'd be able to override, right? So why doesn't some ultra mega rich person hire a stonemason and say, "Look, I want you to build this thing," which would, you know, I would imagine as a stonemason, if that's what you do, you would think like that would be the ultimate gig, right? You get to create
Life example right now. We just need to pay attention. All of the wealthy people that had their homes burnt down in California, a lot of them are you know, getting to the point where they're getting their architects and their builders, and a lot of them are going to spend the money on their extravagant palaces or whatever. We can use that as a barometer. How long is it going to take them to rebuild their 10,000 square foot mansion with all the bells and whistles? And,
yeah, to some degree. I mean, we'd get some sort of gauge on that because there's already a lot of foundation going to be there, right? No, for sure. But again, it's like the stonemason, you know, I want you to build me an elaborate palace made of stone. I want you to build a fucking church made of stone. I want you to do it. I want to see, and we see it. And we see, and we even say, look, I mean, other than the incredible advantage you're going to have by having modern day convenience bring you all of this shit, you're going to have to use, you know, I'm going to pay you to use whatever tools they had, whatever means they had. And let's just see, can you do something like this? We'll let you hire 50 guys, you know, whatever it takes. Let's see, why aren't we doing that? You know, why isn't somebody doing that? Even like a Jeff Bezos, right? If a Jeff Bezos sank $20 million into this project, he would never notice.
Right after the California fires, somebody put a post up saying, "Listen, I went through this, and here are some tips on how to navigate this, you know, as it's happening." And they flat out said, and this is did not have a mansion, did not have a big fucking building. Okay, he just had a regular person's house. And in California, that's smaller than we're picturing, but still, 2 years, 2 years before his house was rebuilt to where he and his family could move back in. So he was just saying, plan on a 2 year time frame, and that's not even for a giant building
Made of fucking
right exactly
marble.
2 years. That's a long time.
The narrative we're given is so unbelievably false, and it's like I said to my wife yesterday, I would love to hear what Donald Trump would have to say if you proposed to him, okay, you've actually been involved in building.
Well,
No, he has. I mean, he's been involved in it from a cost,
paperwork.
yeah, paperwork, time frame, all that shit. Ask him. Does he think they could build the what was it? The Chrysler building and what were the two buildings?
The Fisher building.
The Fisher and the Fisher and the.
Not Chrysler. It was
Two of Detroit's biggest, oldest skyscrapers were said to not only be built in 1 year, but in the same year. No, the Masonic Temple was a separate one. These are 120-story buildings or some shit. Like, these are unfucking real buildings. I don't care about this anymore. The Guardian. The Guardian building and the Fisher. So the Guardian building.
Those of you that don't know those buildings, they are absolutely exquisite.
Like this is just some shit.
Shit ass Detroit, yes.
These are just images from the Guardian building. Look at all that shit. God damn it. Okay, so the Guardian building is a 43-story skyscraper. Built from 1928 to 1929. And the thing about these narratives that's always funny is, like, especially here in Detroit, 6 to 8 months of that was winter. And it wasn't like, oh, it's a little colder winter. It's butt ass, ice fucking cold,
Back then we used to get a lot more snow.
It's brutal winter. And yet, they built the 43-story Guardian building
In a year.
and the Fisher, which is...
The Fisher's not necessarily that tall. It's massive.
It's a 30-story building. It's just massive. This picture isn't going to give it. I need to really go down there and show you guys just how big these fucking buildings are. The Fisher is a city block almost.
I think it is the city block. I think that's what they were saying.
No, that's the Masonic Temple. That was the city block. But there's no construction. Oh, there are the construction photos that exist. Like, they're always the same. They show like for some reason when they were building the building, they would build the frame that doesn't match the interior of the building for sure. But they build the frame, and then they build the building all the way up to finished. Like the ornate details and all that in sections. They build it up to like, if it's a 43-story building, they build up to like the 17th story and it's finished. And then they build the, like, that's not how building construction works. They don't do it like that, where they finish all the finished work is done before they keep going up. That's not how that works. But these narratives, I mean, I just, it's hard to have the conversation with people because it's either you're dumb enough to believe that they could build these 2 buildings over a year here in Detroit where it's fucking freezing. And then when it's not freezing, it's like balls fucking hot. And down there, I would imagine the mayflies during that couple weeks are just unfucking real, especially back then.
A lot of people don't understand what that's like.
Yeah, the mayflies are something you've never experienced. It's worse in Grosse Pointe. In the richest area, they get the worst mayflies, and it looks like a snowstorm, like a blizzard, but it's fucking bugs. And you'll be driving and just...
They don't sting, they don't bite.
They live for 24 hours. All they do is fuck.
They fuck female mosquitoes and make them have vampire babies.
They fuck each other. But all they do is die. It's so weird to think that God would create this thing that the fish don't even like. They don't taste good. The fish don't eat them. They just die and just provide a whole bunch of fertilizer, I guess.
Those jumping fish eat them, don't they?
Nope. They taste bad, apparently. They have a bitter taste.
They leave gross guts on your windshield.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's just like, and the prop, you know, these buildings were built in 27 to 28. So you'll be like, well, they had vehicles and shit. Yeah. Yeah, okay. But we're talking about granite, marble, limestone, like that. Some of it is supposedly from hundreds of miles away. And you see these things, and it's like, I don't know. Talking about it is like redundant. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, I should tell you that they say they built this building in 1927, from 1927 to 1928 in Detroit in the wintertime. And you should go, no fucking way.
Well, to me, that's right when the Depression's about to happen. Now, what happens before, like, a Depression? It's all good, everything's really good, and then everything is gone.
It kind of was. You're gonna know because they're doing it again. Right, we're gonna see it again.
The crunch up until the final shoe drops.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that they were in great times to have afforded that sort of luxury.
Well, I mean, you know,
not a necessity.
The Roaring 20s were a time when we were apparently not just capable of building 2 of those buildings in Detroit at the same time, you know, over a year. These buildings are being built all over the country,
like
too.
Early 20s, though, right? That's
27, 28, no. But still, I mean, it might as well be the early 20s.
No, I mean, the early 20s is when things were real, like, good.
No, I'm just saying, you have to believe that the people skilled enough to build one of these buildings with all its ornate, these people were everywhere. They were everywhere. They were building these crazy buildings. Nobody was taking pictures of it. That they were being supplied, like there was this endless supply of gravel or of marble, of granite. And they're just, you know, throughout the entire, it's like from the 1880s to the 1930s, we were building, well, to 1940s, we were building we don't build that way now. We don't have that much construction going now. And yet, it's like the people that are telling us this stuff are the same people that are telling us to believe in Jesus, are the same people that are telling us that Israel is the victim and that you're not allowed to talk about it. Even though they're the victim, you're still not allowed to talk about it. That pedo stuff is just sort of a natural part of Hollywood, and we just sort of have to accept it. It's like this is what it is. And rape too. When you give a bunch of little trolls a whole bunch of, like, we don't think about it, but these guys are life makers. They're given the power to give Goyim lives that they would never achieve any other way. Do you want to achieve that life? Do you want to be the next Angelina Jolie? You're cute. You're cute. Well, it couldn't be Angelina Jolie because she was born into it. But, pick your fucking random floozy girl that was a sex symbol for a few years or whatever.
Taylor Swift?
No, Taylor Swift is an incredible story. Taylor Swift it's crazy. But you get these women but they say, do you want to be the next Taylor Swift? We can make you Taylor Swift, or you can be a waitress. What are you gonna do? You gotta lay down and let this nasty J troll. I mean, seriously. You can't tell me that every guy you've ever had sex with is like, yeah, I'm really proud of that one. Oh, I'm really proud of that one. Oh, I'm really proud of that one. Oh, I'm really proud of that one. Every girl has that one fucking, gas station worker guy that just happened to say the right thing at the right time because you were upset with your boyfriend or some bullshit. And maybe if you didn't fuck, you definitely sucked his dick at some. There's definitely one of those dicks in your history. There's a dick or two in your history that you regret, that you're not proud of, that you're, that you wouldn't do again. Right? Yeah. But that dick, and in your case it kind of, but that dick, it doesn't. I know one of yours. I know one. There's other ones that you've probably even forgotten. It's been a long time. I know there are chicks that I've forgotten about. Like if I sat there and I was or I had somebody to talk to about it, maybe I could remember. But none of those people had the ability to give you everything you've ever wanted. Especially, like, it's hard to, especially if you're someone who always wanted to be an actress and you took all your lessons, and in school you did all your drama clubs, and you built yourself into this person. You spent so much time and effort to be this person. And now it's, you're given the opportunity. This dick in that life, or no dick, and you can go back to being a waitress. And I have the power to make it so nobody else will even interview you. You won't have another chance. You can't just turn down this dick and go get another opportunity. This dick is all the dicks. That's a pretty fucking weird trade-off. And a lot of it has to do with us thinking sex, like it's just weird. It's weird how when it's not what you want, it's a big fucking deal. Sex is this super, my body is this special place and the blah, blah, blah. But then when it's not that, you're like, whoa, yeah, give me the drugs, give me the drink, give me the fuck. Oh, fuck that guy, fuck them, You've had lots of sex that didn't matter. It didn't matter. Well, whatever. It was just, he just fucked. Who cares? Yeah, no big deal. You know, it's almost like it's nothing. You'd be foolish to pass that up. But because you've been brainwashed and all that stuff, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation. Look at this dumbass. What's the point? The buildings are there, correct? Did a magician wave a magic wand and they appeared? I mean, they might as well have. That's more believable than the narrative we're given. You know, sure, magician did it with a magic wand. Because I guarantee the people of the 1800s, the people of the early, they weren't fucking doing it. You know, it's strange. So how does it affect today? Well, you have to understand that the reality that you think existed, therefore exists, is a lie, is a manufactured one. Do you think that they're lying and manufacturing history and this and that and the other, but they are definitely telling you the truth about Jesus? Oh, yeah.
Or what's going on today.
Right. Exactly.
That does affect your life.
Exactly. The same lying piece of shit assholes that were in charge before and are in charge of your historical perspective are also in charge of your present day perspective. The key to this whole thing, the key to the Tartaria stuff, is to realize that you've been lied to. And if they're lying to you about this, then they're probably lying about that, and that as well. Especially when, you know, you look at that and it doesn't quite make sense anyway. Do you think, I've already acknowledged having done drugs before. I'd much rather hear from somebody that's done drugs than to hear some square that hasn't done drugs talking about drugs, because they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
No, you're smoking a bong.
Yeah, you hit that bong and then you're like, whoa, man. Where are the Doritos, man? Oh my God. Wait, what were they talking about, man? Yeah, I know, my bong. I'm hitting my bong. I don't even remember what I was talking about. The weed is so compromising. But like, think about like, so the response to the idea that we're being lied to, that this is, yeah, you're drugs, you do drugs. Isn't that ad hominem? The overwhelming idea of it, the weight of understanding the truth that we are being lied to about everything. That's too much for people. And you know, because they can't argue it and make it seem like what I'm saying isn't true, they have to attack me so that, you know, I must be crazy and you don't listen to crazy, so whatever I'm saying that makes sense, well, you're not crazy, right? Right, okay, so it doesn't make sense to you either, okay. Like, it's all just, it's telling, you know, you're and most people aren't going to be strong enough or open enough to be like, hey, what you're saying is kind of freaking me out. You know, I believe this way, but, you know, I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. Most people aren't honest like that. Most people are pretty shitty. We've been made to be pieces of shit. Like I say, if you're a Christian, you're a piece of shit. Your best case scenario is that Jesus comes down, you good Christians get raptured, while everyone else dies. Christians make up about 1 to 1.5 billion people out of the 8. So that means 6.5 to 7 billion people are going to die horribly, horrible deaths, Armageddon death, so you can go to heaven early. And there are just tons, millions of people out there that have never even heard of Christianity. It's not like you were given the choice. Okay, here's Christian stuff, here's Muslim stuff. Which one do you pick? And you went, oh, I think I'm going to be a Christian, and then went that way. You didn't have that choice. It was just put on you. And you barely know the Muslim choice. Just like in other countries where Islam is the main thing and they're even more controlling, and there are tons of, they don't know. They know, like, there's a guy called Jesus. They know, like, Christian, but they don't know shit about it. They don't know that they're supposed to repent for their sins or else they're going to burn in hell for all of eternity. And then think about how long Armageddon is going to take to process. Have you ever been to jail? Jail takes forever to process. You're in the fucking drunk tank or the holding cell, whatever. You're in there for a long time. Especially on a busy night. And then when they do finally call you out, like when I got falsely arrested, I was in the back of the police car in the garage for maybe 40 minutes before they brought me in because there were a few other people ahead of me. And then I had to sit and wait while they finished, they checked in another couple of people. And then when I finally get checked in, that took another 30 minutes or so for them to just go through everything and type all the shit they needed to type and take my picture and all that shit. What's it like for St. Pete, man? Armageddon happens and he's got to be like, all right, form 2 lines.
You're going to be here a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute.
And I
all right.
Pee, so
have to wait. Ann Anderson? Let's go. All right, so Ann Anderson, this is your life. You sinned here. Like, you know how long that would fucking take? Poor St. Pete. Poor St. Pete.
I mean,
do you think they
might have been able to hire an assistant for that circumstance.
Do you think they have enough parking to accommodate 7 billion people?
Need cars in heaven, stupid.
And it's probably, I mean, if there are 8 billion people on the planet, it's probably like
a billion.
7,999,999,007 people, because,
everybody else goes straight to hell.
Yeah, most of you are like, even you Christians, you're not getting through. No. You're not a good Christian that's going to get raptured. That's not how that works.
That's what cracks me up about it the most. All these people talking about the rapture, and as soon as they do, I start thinking, your life's so holy?
Well, but the thing about Revelations, like that,
arrogant to assume you're going to go to heaven.
Literally everybody that talks about Revelations, they must not know it.
Well, they know.
They know bits and pieces, right? But they don't know exactly what it says. Because Revelations is a list. It's supposed to happen like boom, 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 boom. You can't just be like, oh, look, there's a bunch of locusts flying around Africa. It's one of those seasons where the locusts are real bad and they're eating all the crops and causing a bunch of devastation. And the locusts, that's a sign. That's Armageddon is beginning. Like, no, it doesn't just start with random locusts in Africa. That's not how it works. There is a process. There are the beasts. There are the guys on the horses, and there are the progression of events that lead to the locusts that are the size of horses with metal breastplates on and faces like humans but teeth that are real sharp and like, it's dumb as fuck. And to think that it's actually really specific. So if a really specific,
metaphorical, dummy.
It's not metaphorical. It's literal. At the end of Revelations, it says, this shit is not allowed to be changed. Anybody tries to change this, they're not allowed to. This is exactly how it's, And the real truth is, right after Revelations talk, the disciples, the people following Jesus around, because again, Jesus is just walking around using Godspeed to go all these places, and there are all these people that are just walking around with Jesus.
Do they have Godspeed too, or do he has to sit there and wait for them to catch up?
I know there's only one time, like the whole the whole fish story. Like every other time this horde of people is following Jesus, how they eat is never an issue. Apparently there's enough food any other time, but this one time, there's just not enough food.
Doesn't he just cut pieces of his flesh off?
Here's some wine. Open up. It's winey.
Well, no, because he can take water and turn that into wine.
Well,
he doesn't have to cut himself for that.
The whole thing with the two fish is like, it's two fish. He tells his disciples to eat the fish, and then they put the scraps of the fish in the basket, and then that somehow feeds the people. They don't even really say it turns into a whole bunch of other fish. It's just that the scraps in the basket somehow feed everyone. I'm not really sure. But it's really dumb. And it's one of these stories where, again, so every other time, how did they eat? Were they hunting and they were just like, Jesus, they hunt, they couldn't find anything today, But after the Revelation narrative is given, somebody asked JC, yo, my dog, my homie, what's up? Yo, I gotta tell you, John, that shit was scary. When is all this gonna happen? In Matthew 24:34, Jesus says, verily I say unto you, that no one of this generation shall die before all of these things come to pass. Do you get it? No one of this generation, that means you, buddy, will die before all of these things come to pass. Meaning, shit's already happened. It's already done. All those people are dead. All that generation of people are dead. Why would you continue to believe it? They flat out tell you it's not happening anytime soon. But like I say, think about how stupid you have to be. What a piece of shit you have to be that the best case scenario is everybody dies. Right? Isn't that the best case scenario for Christians? Is that Jesus comes down and
takes you to heaven,
saves all of you? You all get saved?
It's not that you die. It's that you get to go to heaven and be by
you ascend. Well, so what? He comes down, touches the ground, and then goes right back up? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
He doesn't come down here and lead?
He essentially doesn't have to go back anywhere because the earth just...
No, it doesn't. No, he comes down and that begins Armageddon. And so now there's the plague. The guys on the horses come down and they set forth the plagues and all that other shit.
Was he still floating and not touching his toe on the ground?
No, after.
I thought that was it. He touched the toe on the ground and boom, that's it.
Well, yeah, for the good Christians. When he touches the toe on the ground, the good Christians, yeah, they ascend. Everybody else has to fight it. No, this is pre-hell. Yeah. It's going to be pretty shitty. Tell you that. It's just so weird. It's such a weird bunch of shit. Why would anyone want to believe in such horribly stupid nonsense? I just don't understand it. Even when they talk about, like, you get to go to heaven, what the fuck is heaven? How does heaven exist? How is it set up? Is it like a bunch of cubicles? And everybody just has like their own little like soundproof little area? I don't get it. How could my heaven exist in the same existence as my grandmother's heaven? What my grandma thinks is heaven is going to be drastically different than what I think is heaven. Just seems stupid. You know? And to me, there's the whole Jimi Hendrix paradox. Guy Williamsburg Goldstein. Can anybody explain this one to me? Like, I don't understand this tactic. If I was a J, then everything I say would have a lot more weight behind it. Like, it would be a much more powerful thing if all the J's weren't such pieces of shit that they would say these things. But they're all pieces of shit. So if I was Jay and I was saying these things, it would be like, man, the cult member came out, and it's like Leah Remini, right? Leah Remini talking about what it's like to be a Scientologist, firsthand accounts, like that's a lot more powerful than a random person talking about it. And so, why would I hide the idea of being a J when it would help? Like that just seems desperately stupid. And then is it used as an insult? Like, am I supposed to be hey, how dare you call me one of those smelly pieces of shit? Like, I'm not like that. Like, is that what it's supposed to do? I don't get it. I try to be empathetic. I try to understand everyone. You know, I think that's the best way of getting understanding is by being empathetic. And like, I understand how stupid people, you know, when I look at it from that perspective, like, you're stupid and you can't debunk what I'm saying, but you're desperate for attention, so you say stupid things. Like, I can understand somebody doing that. I don't get, you know, I think there are other options, but I get that people would do something like that. There are things like the pedo stuff, you know, I can't wrap my head around. I can't, you know, it's just the troll thing. I mean, I guess the only explanation I can give for trolls is either A, like, I get the ones that are getting paid. I get that. That's a job. But the ones that claim to just be doing it, the only, again, empathetic sort of way I could see it is that you're just a piece of shit loser who can't get attention by themselves, so they try to piggyback off other people, but when they get to the certain situations, they're not smart enough to engage, so they just say dumb shit. Like, I've tried to look at it every other way, and I just can't see how it makes sense any other way. But when it comes to shit like the whole saying that I am a J, like, I don't understand. I don't understand the purpose. Other than, again, you're desperate and stupid. What is the intended result? I don't know. The hair, the nose, the complexion. So you're just saying, from a visual perspective, I look like a J. Yeah, look at that big old J nose. Look at my nose. Look at my profile. Isn't that typical? Like, it's made for glasses. Yeah. What? Like, that's the best you can do? So if that was the case, then why wouldn't I just say so? Like, what? it would make my argument stronger. So why wouldn't I start with that argument? I'm trying to figure out stupid, and I guess that's probably my fault there. But, you know, I just don't understand this tactic. Because even if it's supposed to make me talk about it, you know, again, it ends up working out for me because I get a chance to point out how stupid my opposition literally has to be. How desperate. They literally can't address anything that's being said. If they could, they would. Like, again, he's addressing the video. Apparently, got that big old J nose. So he can see my hair, you know. I'm looking, I'm seeing the video, so you're paying attention. And you're even responding. I'm asking you, and then you're giving me these dumb responses. But when it comes to the real life big picture shit, nothing to say. Just stupid. Have you done any ancestry research? Yeah, because it would matter. It would matter. Again, what nose part are we talking about here? I actually have a pretty small nose considering. When you say, like, especially being a halfie, I don't got that big nigga nose. You know, so I definitely don't have my dad's nose. I mean, again, this is just that I appreciate this so much. I can't tell you guys. I appreciate this. This is a fantastic example of what I'm talking about. Why would this person care more about me than stopping the pedos? Than eliminating the J menace? Than making the world a better place? Like, it's just, who is going, you know, the people that are watching on the sidelines or on the fence or whatever, ask yourself these questions. Does it make sense that real people would be this interested and this stupid at the same time? Or does it sound more like dumb J bot bullshit? Guys, show me the video. If somebody can tell me what video I can look up where someone like me is having a discussion with some J's, and the J's are trying to justify, you know, using facts, using calm responses and whatnot, not trying to bully, and just having a reasonable conversation to explain why they should get the Semitism they require. Show me the debate. Show me the debate where people are, you know, defending Israel's actions over the last 75 years, but last, you know, couple years especially. There is no video like that. There's not a single video where anybody questions someone like Netanyahu or even a Biden or Trump about it. This thing with Zelensky where they sort of go back and forth is like the everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe they aren't just playing nice for the cameras. Thank you. Think about how just desperate and stupid they have made us. We have to be desperate, stupid, distracted fucking robots to be able to exist in this narrative. If you say, look, I'm a distracted, you know, arrogant, ignorant, you know, dumb robot, then you get rewarded. Like, you'll keep your mouth shut. Okay, here you go. You won't step too much. Okay, you'll go vote when we tell you to, right? Okay, there you go. Like it. If somebody could tell me how I could, if there, how could I find any contradiction to what I'm talking about and what I'm saying? Because even when I look up, I say these crazy things, right? I talk about these horrible things, and then I go and I look up the official narrative, and the official narrative does nothing but reinforce everything I'm saying. It's not like, it's not like I can go find the answers I'm looking for. So then I go live and I just try to put it out there and say, look, this is how I see it. Does anybody else see it this way? And if you do, great. If you don't, please help me see it your way. Explain, help me understand. And I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've clearly caught the attention of the system and been censored and all that. I can't remember any time some dumb Jay came on here and was like, hey, look, I'm Jay. Say what you got to say, and then I'm going to try to help you understand what you're getting wrong. It hasn't happened. How is that possible? I've had many, many people that are obsessed with me and my life and all these other things. I've had lots and lots of dumb Jays come through and identify as dumb Jays or Israel supporters or something like that. And yet when I ask them why, or, to try to help me understand their point of view, they just reinforce my negative stereotypes. I've never had one come on here and I've been like, wow, you know what? I might disagree with everything about what you choose to do, but at least you're a decent person and, you can have a reasonable conversation about it. Never happened. How? How are they supposedly the smartest and this ancient people with all this wisdom and blah, blah? How is it? And they can't have a simple conversation? And I can't find a simple conversation like that. Like I can't find somebody online that speaking like me and then having somebody from that cult come through and justify what, or debunk what they're saying. Literally the only time you ever see anything with Jays responding is them saying, you're not allowed to say that. You can't talk like that. Don't say those things. Why are you talking like that? Well, what about this? This thing does the same thing we're doing. It doesn't make it any better. Anyway, it's getting boring, so go get your free download. Go watch Hollywoodism. All that shit's in the links are in the description. Go there, go check shit out. Have a great day, and pedophiles, kill yourself.